It started with one viral moment, an overconfident child on a TV program called Kaun Banega Crorepati, which left viewers kind of divided. Some called it cute confidence. There are others who called it arrogance. And suddenly the internet is abuzz with reactions to that clip, which has, like I said, gone viral. Some experts are now coming up with terms like six pocket syndrome, perhaps a more elaborate term for what we normally say a spoiled child. Now, I have with me in this conversation Dr. Samir Dalwai, who is a developmental and behavioral pediatrician, founder of New Horizons Child Development Center. Dr. Dalwai is very well known in this area where he interacts with children with different behavioral patterns all the time. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Free Press Journal.
Good evening, Farida.
Good evening. I want to play out before we start, Dr. Dalwai, with your permission, a little clip of the viral clip that we are talking about here, so that my viewers understand what we are referring to. Let's watch.
मेरे को रूल्स पता है, इसीलिए आप अभी मेरे को रूल समझाने मत बैठना.
अच्छा. पहला प्रश्न 5000 पॉइंट ये रहा आपके सामने. इनमें से कौन सा भोजन आमतौर पर सुबह खाया जाता है?
सर ऑप्शन के बिना बोल रहा हूँ ब्रेकफास्ट.
ओके. Which of these meals is generally eaten in the morning? ऑप्शन सुनिए. A lunch, B breakfast,
सर
C
बी
high tea, D dinner.
ब्रेकफास्ट लॉक करो. बी ब्रेकफास्ट लॉक.
So this just goes on in the same pattern. And if you have seen the entire clip, I mean, it's just this throughout, isn't it? I mean, the kid has no patience to listen to the question. Some, like I said, are calling it overconfidence. The others are calling it disgusting arrogance and lack of respect for somebody elderly sitting in front of you. This is certainly not desirable behavior from a child, from my perspective. But I want to know from your understanding, how would you look at this behavior? What would you call it?
So thank you for this wonderful question. There are three aspects actually. The first aspect is we've grown accustomed to always being told as children, don't do this, don't say this, do not sit here, do not stand there, do not go. So we've always been told what not to do. And there are many experts who say that that really, really destroys the child's the child's development, and you go on to just become somebody who all the time wants to conform to what others around you want you to say, and you are no longer your own self. So on one hand, allowing a child to have that kind of a confidence to be able to go up to the Amitabh Bachchan and to be able to speak like this also speaks in some way about the freedom that he's been given to be himself. Having said that, the second aspect is this usually is not useful because the world has its own social rules and own social expectations, and we need to conform at least to partly what the situation is, because it's not just to pay deference to somebody, because that's what's expected to be done. For example, in that Kaun Banega Crorepati, that entire situation, you are expected to have the quiz master, that is Amitabh Bachchan, read out the questions. He will read out the answers. He'll do his bit, and then you will be giving the answers. It's not only about the one giving the answer; it's also about the audience and everybody else watching. So you need to be aware of the larger social picture and regulate yourself accordingly. I call it self-regulation. And this self-regulation cannot be learnt in a college or a school or some tuition classes or on some app. It can only be learnt in the community and in the society, beginning with the parents, then the extended family, then the neighborhood, then the school. It's not only the parents, because the parents can only give you experience of one set of people, of two people. But you need to have tried out multiple people who you know how their expectations are, for you to get a small worldview at least. So I always say it's the chachi, masi, bua, mami, going to their house, knowing what a chachi would like to hear, what she would not, what a masi would not like to hear, what she would, knowing how to keep the two separate, etc., etc. This is only learnt by what we call nurturing care in the community with people, especially people who are close to you, and without it being a very judgmental kind of a situation. But the third
But
aspect
I
also
think you
is,
will make. Okay, please finish.
yeah, the third aspect also is, as there are some children who have a genuine problem when it comes to self-regulation. And it's not only because of poor conditioning or poor experience or exposure, what the Western world likes to call ADHD, for example. And there we know that the person has a higher proclivity for being impulsive, speaking out of turn, and for, being the way this child was. But one needs to check whether that is the case in every other situation as well. If the child is like this in multiple situations, at school, at home, with the friend's place, on the playground, then you may say that he genuinely has a problem. It can also be that somebody just in front of Amitabh Bachchan doesn't really know how to express or how to control one's expression. So really, the jury is out, so to speak, and I think we should not get too judgmental about it.
Okay, fair enough. But since you brought up the issue of nurturing care, here there are many who are raising a question of whether this is an outcome of too much care, too much pampering, too much attention. And in the case of girls, they say, or maybe both genders, this should apply. The prince and the princess syndrome kicks in. We are made to feel Raja Beta, princess. So that just kicks in, and in the wrong environment. Because if you let that sink in, and there are chances that in any kind of environment, irrespective of who's sitting in front of you, you will behave like that. Do you find, while you are saying nurturing care with the society, with the neighborhood important, but can it also backfire when it crosses a certain line?
Absolutely, and nurturing care is the sum of it all, right? It can't be only one parent or one uncle or one aunt. It's a sum of it all, because the family is like a small microscopic view of the world. You will have an aunt who's different, a cantankerous uncle, a very loving aunt. You need to navigate the social maneuvers, which you learn only in the family and in your social surroundings much before you go to school as such. What you mentioned, I call it the Nawab syndrome. The child, and nowadays we have smaller families, child is born after and the parents are a little older. So there's a tendency to kind of do whatever the child says. And kind of there's also this concept of being a friend to your child, which means probably saying everything always yes. I don't agree to that at all. Because if the child who has like a clean slate is only going to learn by experience, if the child's only experience is that she or he can get away with whatever they say or whatever they want, and the people around them are bent on serving them, it becomes normal for them to expect it from everybody else. It's also the Prince Siddharth syndrome. So Prince Siddharth grew up in the palace where he was kept away from all kinds of grief and disappointment. And one day he walked out and he had to face what he did. And of course, he went on to become the Buddha. So this is very important. And the parent should know that the only one who suffers here is the child. Because you may do it because you want to be protective.
Yeah, what is the six pocket syndrome? Now, this is a new buzzword that six people.
I'm so sorry, I don't know about it.
No, I'm just telling you why this has come up. I'll tell you, because parents and the grandparents from the mother's side, the grandparents from the father's side, four of them, and the parents, six of them treat like the same thing, the Nawab treatment that you just mentioned.
So, Afrida, I really feel that the Western, yeah, I feel the Western civilization unfortunately comes up with smarter terms with little content. Yeah. What's needed is to explain to the parent that your child needs to go out in society. He needs to go to the neighborhood. He needs to meet friends. He needs to spend time, often without the parents, with other people, where he knows that he has to behave in a certain way. And it is a feedback that you receive from multiple people around you multiple times over a period of time that really allows you to regulate your understanding of the situation and behave appropriately. So social behavior is not what to do. Social behavior is knowing what to do when and what not to do when. Where to do something, where not to do something. And this cannot be learnt on an app or a course or a school or a class. It can be only learnt in the kitchen of human life and families.
Yeah, I'll just put out on our screens the reaction that is coming. A lot of people are, of course, trolling. And let's be very clear, it's not about one kid. What we are trying to understand is there a pattern with this generation where children have developed this level of confidence, which sometimes, when you watch it, as a neutral observer, when you're watching this behavior, it appears very disturbing. It appears as if the child is, speaking way above or hitting way above his weight, or, reaching for something which is, not really appropriate at his age, in the manner of speaking. So here again, you have some reactions that we have put out in our webpage also, where someone says, not saying this about the kid, but the parents. If you can't teach your kids humility, patience, and manners, they turn out to be such rude, overconfident lot. Not winning a single rupee will surely pinch them for long. So they're like saying that.
I'll give you a simple. I'll give you a simple example. In my clinic, when I see children with developmental concerns, they are not ill babies, so to speak. So they walk in, and there are two chairs suppose, and there are four of them, the grandparent, the father, mother, and the child. They'll ask the child to go and sit first. Then probably the mother will sit first. And the father will keep standing. We'll get one more chair, then the father will stand. The grandfather is the last person to be offered a chair by the family. Now, if you are doing this in front of your child, the grandfather is standing and you are telling your 8-year-old healthy child to sit down. What kind of
What do you expect?
and you know the most important thing of Frida here, it's not about my generation or your childhood, my childhood. It's not about a generation, it's about 10,000 generations of human life. We've evolved to this phase that we are today over 10,000 generations, over 6 million years. It's taken us that experience to become where we are. Now, what is the problem that this child will face? I'm only worried about that. Let's not judge him. But the point is, he goes for any situation where he needs to be accepted. I'm sure we don't need to conform to everything that people say. We don't need to be manipulative. We don't need to be submissive. But we need to understand that we have the ability to regulate ourselves. What I am worried about, or what I'd like to know, can this child regulate himself in other situations as well? Maybe this was a one-off. But if you find this happening everywhere, he's not able to regulate, then it's going to cut, the world is going to cut this child out willy-nilly. You see the comments that you've seen. So people are judgmental. You can't stop that. So you need to be able to regulate appropriately.
But you were very clear, Dr. Dalwai, if I heard you correctly, that don't simply go and blame the parents. You know, that's the easiest punching bag.
Absolutely.
And there are other factors here, and don't simply go for the parents like a lot of people are doing here.
No, it's a mistake
there are
to think
a lot of
that
people
parents.
who feel
It's a
that he's
mistake
just
to
a
think.
kid.
So sorry, it's a mistake to think that parents are the ones who set up the child's behavior. We always say it takes a village to raise a child. Because the child needs to know beyond just a father's behavior and a mother's behavior. He needs to experience more diversity. And that's why children who come from, say, an Asian background, I'm just trying to be a bit, the larger picture. Often we find that they are more able to live, in the workplace, able to adjust better compared to those who come from the Western background, where they've never felt the need to adjust. So it's important not to blame the parents, because the parent can only give one point of view, or two parents can give 2 points of view. It's not enough. It's the beginning. It begins with the two parents, but you need a family, you need an extended family, you need neighbors, you need a society around you to give you the constant feedback which develops into your personality, so to speak, over a period of time. And rather than using the word personality, I'll say self-regulation, appropriate self-regulation. What to do in the right place at the right time.
Very interesting, but I know you have limited time. That's why I want to, for once and for all, clear the air over whether this qualifies as ADHD, because I know that you treat those conditions where people are saying the child is restless, the child does not sit in a place, and he cannot wait to get on with things. Did you feel that here is somebody, and this pattern of behavior requires professional expertise and attention from someone like you?
My first point is to caution people not to jump to such labels, because ADHD is not a disease. It's basically a label for a group of symptoms. And even this label needs to be applied if this group of symptoms of being hyperactive, not waiting for their turn, speaking out of turn, is seen in multiple situations everywhere, and has been there for a period of more than 6 months, and you don't have any other reason to explain it. It's not a one-off. In which case, definitely you would be benefited by appropriate professional counseling. But there is no substitute to having exposure to society. There is no substitute. No Dr. Dalwai can be better than a chachi, masi, bua, mami. Parents often ask me, oh no, but the relatives also don't want to have our child. It's also probably because your child has not learned how to adapt. So it's both ways. You need to help train your child. You need to go with your child to the other person's house. You need to help the child understand how to behave there. And then you need to gradually withdraw so that the child has picked up what is to be done. The whole world is not going to change for your child. The chachi masi are not going to go. That's the difference between them and you, right? That's why we need them, because they are not going to be as lovey-dovey and as agreeable as you are as a parent. That's why you need them. But you need to get your child there slowly and gradually. It's not overnight. Don't look for, oh, this is ADHD, I'll take a pill, matter is solved. That's not the way to do it.
Yeah, and also for those who are saying ki bacha hai chhod do, just ignore. Is that advisable? Because I'm going to put out some more, reactions on our screen here. just to tell you that a lot of people are also saying, ki, why are we after a child? Why are we blaming a child? Because there is tremendous amount of trolling at the moment, if I can just share that also with you. Lot of trolling that is happening, and a lot of people are giving labels which you have firmly said one should not be doing. uh, let me just put that out for you, then we can discuss. Let me just quickly put that out for you. I think this is the one. Yeah. So people are saying it's not about his age, it's the matter of his behavior, which is not limited to his age. It's a tone and it's his attitude that matters. Then there are others who also feel that bacha hai chhod do. So where do you stand? No, you're on mute. You'll have to unmute.
I'm sorry. I'm saying this is also equally poor regulation and impulsive. Just passing a judgment on somebody just by seeing a clip and saying that yes, the person who's saying it is also a bit impulsive, if I may say so. So there's no need to judge somebody. The point is this child going to have trouble later? That's what I would want to look at it, not just as a doctor, but maybe as a child's uncle or whatever else. I'd like to look at it whether he's going to end up going to a college in a new classroom, and he's going to walk into a classroom and going to talk like this to people which they won't like. Nobody's going to be friends with him. Nobody's going to be nice to him. He goes to a new office and starts behaving like this, which people don't like. So I'm more concerned that the child, at the same time, if he's being victimized, I would want this child to stand up and speak. If he sees somebody else being victimized, I want this child to stand up and speak as confidently as he did now. So it's all about
It
appropriate
should be,
self-regulation.
appropriate, and appropriate
Self-regulation.
occasion for that sort of aggressive. Sometimes it requires you to be assertive, and maybe he could be using, if this is a skill, or I mean, if this is something positive in him, he should be using in the right situations, is what you're saying. I'm concluding with this particular post which we have put out on Free Press Journal on Instagram, where you have Team India spinner
Correct.
Varun Chakravarti saying, if you can't tolerate a kid, imagine. I mean, let's cut him some slack. So I think on that note, we can end this conversation. Any quick last word that you want to say, reacting to
That,
what I put out here?
no, I think we are being very, very abusive to the child as well. And I don't think these kind of comments are called for. And the
Hmm.
point is, it's a discussion. What can be done to make things better is what the focus
Hmm.
of social media or all of us should be. And not just to castigate somebody or to criticize somebody and to label a child and the parents, etc. I'm completely against that.
Hmm. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Samir Dalwai, for joining us, for giving us your time. Always a pleasure talking to you. Have a nice day.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you.